Alexa, stop.
Alexa, stop. Okay, what do we got going on here? Community moderation, participant. Only those who know who I am. That would be fantastic because people are crazy. Okay, hi. Nobody's here. That's fine. I'm okay with that. We shall wait patiently. Hello, Ken and Christopher. How are you? Krills. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody is well. Trev, hello. Thank you, Trev. I appreciate that. I am a work in progress, so we're gonna see where this little journey takes me, and hopefully I can get better at editing skills and making thumbnails and doing all the things. Good, I'm stoned. Oh, Destiny, my lovely lady. I appreciate you all for being here. And Tipsy, he's on live too. Oh, well, good for him. He knew I was going to do my crime thing, so he can stick it. Tell him that Miss Rainey said thanks for the support, fools. And that's okay, because Miss Rainey is her own person, and I'm an individual, and I'm an independent woman. That's what I'd like to tell myself. So I am going to do my crime, and he knew that, and that is okay. But I just figured he would wait and do his thing once I was done. But you know what? That's okay. It's all good. Hello, Larry. Amber, I appreciate you. Thank you. Just keep taking wrong turns. So as you guys know, I'll give it a little bit of time just to see, if other people join us. And if they do, that's awesome. I appreciate you, Krills. Very, very much so. Got my little heater that's trying to run in here. Not your daddy. How are you? Hello. Hello, 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 friends. Hopefully I'm catching this a little bit earlier than normal because I know everyone's kind of in different, I'm here, never fear. Everyone's in different time zones. So I am working on maybe trying to do these earlier in the day because it's 6 p.m. It's 6:15 my time. And, a lot of people have kids and jobs and other life things. So, do you think I'm funny? Always, Destiny. Although I have to go to work tomorrow, so I don't know if I will be partaking in Fool's Adventures. You're in Alabama. I am in Idaho. West Coast, Canada. Kate, I appreciate you as always. Thank you for stopping by. So, let's see here. I was in full stream, but I've decided to be sickened by humanity some more. Kurt, is he live? Because I don't see that he's live at all. Did he shut it down? Did you guys tell him I was live and he was like, oh crap. Hi, Bobby. Because I'm not showing he's live on my end. He was. Oh, bless his heart. My bad. Fools. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do this early. That way he can have the rest of the night. And then everyone's like, hey, your man is doing live. And I was like, well, shoot. He ended it. I know. He's in the chat now. So I hope everyone is well. Everyone is great. Loco Moco, hello. All right, so we're about 5 minutes in. We've got about 20 people in here. If anyone is here and listening, which many of you are, if you are new here, just as a little heads up, typically what I do on my channel is I talk about true crime events that are happening currently. So these are events in which maybe took place last week, maybe a few days ago, or it is a follow up of sentencing by the courts. So, again, if you are new, a lot of the things that we are going to talk about include unaliving. I'm not sure you're new. Well, welcome in. Nice to see you. Unaliving, unfortunately, self harm, ape. There is SA. There's also, um, unfortunately, the abuse of children as well. So, today, I tried not to pick very many stories about children, and I think we've got a couple of them, but most of them are a little bit different, and it's always disheartening when I look up these cases, and many of them, I'm going to say at least 75% of them are about kids. So it's it's sometimes it's hard to stomach, it's hard to deal with. I have two kids of my own, and I know there are many parents in this chat, and so it's rough, but it definitely needs to be discussed and needs to be talked about, because if you see something, say something, right? And that goes with everything. So we will get started here. Donna, I appreciate you coming in. Everyone that I missed, I don't think I missed a lot of people, but if I did miss you, it's not intentional. I tend to talk and not look at the chat just so I can try to focus. So I will, 10 blinks now, 13. I will go ahead and start. So these are just articles in which I have found on the internet. We read them together for the first time. So I don't proofread this. I do not go through this and have my own reaction. We all have a reaction together. So the first case is going to be this is the headline. It is Blowout of the Century. Man arrested for murder of missing woman, allegedly described bloodbath after fight over another man. I do not remember clicking this one, but it is what it is. Hello, Caleb. All right, more than 2 years after a Rhode Island woman went missing, her remains were found, and the man suspected of her murder was finally arrested. Mark Perkins, who's 64, was taken into custody on Wednesday after his vehicle's GPS data was connected to the location of 44-year-old Charlotte Lester's skeletal remains, which were found on November 17th and identified through dental records. According to the Warwick Police Department, Perkins had been on their radar from the beginning, but they had lacked the evidence needed to make an arrest. Court documents obtained by NBC detailed police evidence of Perkins' activity in the days following Lester's disappearance around May 16th of 2022, when her landlord reported her missing. The documents reportedly described a witness from a convenience store who saw that Perkins allegedly had blood on his hands and scratches and bite marks on his arm. Perkins allegedly told the witness that he and Lester, with whom he had a relationship with, had the blowout of the century, and described his house as a bloodbath. He also told witnesses, "I think I killed her," the witness reported back to police. Perkins was interviewed by police days later on May 20th. They reportedly noted that his hands were swollen, but that he seemed to be calm and unaffected by Lester's disappearance. He allegedly told the police that she had stopped texting him and he did not know where she was. Warwick police then reportedly searched Perkins' house and wrote in their report that they witnessed blood splatters on walls, the ceiling, door, and bed frame, and an apparently blood-stained shirt hanging on a clothesline in the basement over a bottle of bleach. Testing later reportedly showed the blood matched Perkins and likely Lester based on it matching the DNA profile of Lester's mother. The court documents also stated that Perkins followed Lester as she drove to another man's house on May 16, 2022, the last day anyone saw her alive. Text messages from that night reportedly show Perkins writing Lester asking her to return from the man's house. On May 18th, the day after he was allegedly seen bloodied and scratched up at the convenience store, Perkins was reportedly seen on video leaving his home in his truck with an object in the back, and when he returned 3 hours later, it was no longer there. It was not until the discovery of Lester's skull that investigators made the connection they needed. When police began looking at the GPS tracking data on Perkins's truck, it allegedly showed he went to the area where the skull was found 4 times in 4 months, twice in July and twice in October. In one of those trips, Lester's remains were allegedly within 1,000 feet of the area where Perkins stopped his truck, according to GPS data. Perkins was arrested in August of 2022 for a completely unrelated case when he allegedly threatened a local radio personality with his lawnmower after being confronted about Lester's disappearance. Perkins was arraigned at Kent County District Court, where he was formally charged with first-degree murder. He did not enter a plea and is being held without bond. So, this man, people are crazy. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And it's crazy to think that our vehicles, which we all know this, right, track us. In fact, I was showing fools, what was it, today or yesterday? So I don't know what setting I have on my phone, but when I park my car or my other vehicle, I will get out and then I'll get a notification on, oh, I know what setting it is now, but I'll get a notification on my phone on where my car is parked, you know, in case you're in a big parking lot in a big city or something, and, you know, where to look for your vehicle. So just remember, you're always being tracked, always. Hello, Wyatt. Phoenix, awesome. I'm glad you're here and get to hear this because I am a fanatic when it comes to crime. I love crime. I love it. I listen to podcasts and crime stuff all day long. It's a bad obsession, but it's always been my thing. So Big Brother likes to keep tabs. Yeah, and now that we've got these fancy little computers that we are speaking on and looking at, there's no way around it, right? It's just, it is what it is. All right, so the next one. 13-year-old charged with murder after telling 911 his friend attempted suicide. A 13-year-old boy from Indiana was charged with the murder of another boy after initially reporting his death as a suicide. After midnight on November 10th, police from the Greenwood Police Department responded to a call about an apparent suicide attempt. When they arrived at the address, officers found 13-year-old James Davis in critical condition from a gunshot wound. Davis was transported by ambulance to Riley Hospital for Children in Indianapolis, where he was pronounced dead. A police investigation concluded that there were a total of 6 boys at the scene at the time of the shooting, including Davis and his alleged assailant. The parents of one of the boys were at home at the time, but asleep in another part of the house. It wasn't made clear in reports whose parents were there, whose parents they were, or if they were the owners of the gun that fired the shot that killed Davis. but they are not facing any criminal charges at this time. Preliminary investigations revealed that the boys were playing with the gun, then fled the scene after the shooting. The suspect then called 911, saying that his friend attempted suicide. Pointed a firearm at the victim and shot him. The suspect, an unnamed 13-year-old, was charged with murder and criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon, both of which are felonies if the suspect is charged as an adult. He is currently being held at the Johnson County Juvenile Detention Facility. Whether he will be charged as an adult has not been decided. The suspect is scheduled for a preliminary juvenile hearing on November 26th. After the news of the shooting broke out, the superintendent of schools told the news channel that some of the boys involved in the shooting were students at the local middle school. He said that counseling and support services would be made available for students in the school district. The Monday after the shooting, the schools opened after a 2-hour delay and athletic activities were canceled for the day. They issued a statement saying, "We encourage you to talk to your children about their feelings and any fears they may have, reassuring them that they are safe and we are here to support them." And that is crucial. If your child needs to talk to someone, please do not hesitate to reach out to our school counselors. So school is being very proactive there. So that was that one. Fools is loud out there, man. I don't know what he's doing, but he doesn't realize that the radio is so loud and my office butts up against that shop. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's pretty loud. All right, moving on to the next one. Everyone doing okay? Everyone all right? I need a little drink. Did he put it lower? Thank you. Sorry. All right, Amazon driver allegedly kills 79-year-old grandmother crossing the street on her way back from a cemetery, and then goes about his day delivering packages. A Georgia woman was killed while crossing the street after paying respects to deceased family at a cemetery, allegedly by an Amazon driver who went on with his route after the fatal crash. Sandra Fitz, 79, died after being struck at an intersection near her former home. Now, Landon Best, who's 25, stands accused of 1 count each of vehicular homicide in the first degree and hit and run resulting in death. The incident occurred on November 12th at around 6:30 p.m. just outside of Canton, a small city some 41 miles northwest of Atlanta. Law enforcement received a call about a hit and run along the highway near the intersection of Jordan Lane. Fitz died at the scene of the crime. Authorities later said she likely died instantly upon being hit by the vehicle. A deputy had spotted an Amazon truck turned down Bishop Drive while responding to the accident and called for assistance to the area to search for the vehicle. Nearby, a member of the local police department in town on that very same street came across an Amazon truck delivery guy. Evidence showed there was damage to be consistent with the hit and run that killed the woman. The investigation revealed that the Amazon truck in question was the vehicle that struck the pedestrian. Cherokee County Sheriff's Office said the woman and her husband recently sold their home but continued to visit the area due to the family plot at the nearby cemetery, where Fitz would visit with the memories of her deceased relatives and feed wild cats. It is a very unfortunate situation. It appears that he knows what happened and he actually continued to deliver packages afterwards in the area. Now Best is looking at spending a substantial part of his life behind bars over the fatal traffic accident. Had he not left the scene, it's very likely that he wouldn't be charged, certainly not with felonies. Um, the sheriff's office told ABC. It was dark and she was crossing the highway. So it very well could have been he didn't see her, but if you're in an accident, so if you're ever in an accident, stop. Best also faces a series of relatively small marijuana related charges after a search of the Amazon delivery truck turned up drugs and drug paraphernalia. Amazon, for its part, said the defendant will be suspended from driving for the company pending the results of the criminal investigation. We're deeply saddened by this incident, and our thoughts are with the victim's family and loved ones during this time. We'll support local police as they investigate, per Amazon. So, oh, well, I'm glad, Phoenix. Excuse me if I stumbled over my words. So, oh no, pot. I know. They always have to throw in something, just to make it. But who knows, right? What if he was smoking on the job and he just wasn't 100% coherent? You know? Very well could have been. So, still. So, Kurt, can I be honest with you? I don't watch a lot of YouTube. The YouTube that I typically watch is us. And I mean us by like the people in the chat and the people I live with. And not to be rude, I've never used YouTube as a social media platform. I've always used YouTube as a DIY or how do I fix this type. I used it for information. I never used it to watch anyone. I'm changing that though because I'm old and I honestly thought a while back YouTube was kind of that. It was just the hey, learn how to put on your makeup, or hey, let's change a car tire. You know what I mean? So I'm learning that it's a lot more than I ever imagined. But no, I don't know who that is. I did write his name down though. I do want to look him up and see. Just because that is crazy. That is crazy. Okay, moving on to the next, my loves. Nose blind to the awful stench. Overwhelmed mom. Oh, we're going to talk about children, excuse me. I don't think that children may be unalived. I haven't read it yet, as I mentioned, but there could be abuse, and it looks like there might be. So just as a heads up. Nose blind. Hold on. I might have to walk away for a moment. Give me 2 seconds. Hold on. This dog is driving me bananas. So she was yelping, and I did not understand why. So I go out there, and she had paper all over the floor, which I'm not sure where she got the paper from, because I thought that paper wasn't here. Anyhow, I bought her a whole bunch of tennis balls, right? To play fetch with her. She got that off the table. There's balls everywhere in the house. And that is the story of chaos. She's chaotic. And I'm not understanding what her issue is right now, because I really want to know where that damn paper came from, honestly. Anyway, we're moving on. Let's pay attention. All right. Nose blind to the awful stench, overwhelmed mom leaves 4 young kids alone in feces and trash-covered apartment while she flees the state. When Connecticut police first walked into Lindsay Powell's apartment, they were met by an awful stench and scene that nearly knocked an officer down, according to cops. Inside, Powell allegedly left her 4 children, ages 11, 6, 4, and 3, to fend for themselves in filth as the overwhelmed mom absconded to New York. It was difficult to stand. Oh my gosh, hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay, I'm back. Everything was fine. All right. It was difficult to stand, wrote police officer Gregory Webster in Powell's November 8th arrest report, which was posted online this week by the local CBS News. The stench originating from inside the apartment was burning my nostrils. Hello, Jeremy. Hello, Dev. Noting that there were human and cat feces scattered everywhere, along with piles of trash and fly swarms. The living conditions in the apartment were deplorable. The floor of the living room was covered in trash, toys, dirt, old food, and clothes. It was difficult to walk in the living room without stepping on something or a bodily fluid. I observed human and cat feces on the floor, by the sink, in the kitchen, and throughout the entirety of the apartment. There was crusty mold and old food. Powell, who's 40, allegedly left her kids inside the rancid apartment for at least 8 hours while she traveled to upstate New York, according to her arrest report. She told authorities she abandoned them because she felt overwhelmed and depressed. Friends said that she had been making suicidal statements referencing driving her car off of a cliff. Powell's aunt told cops she allegedly made claims that day to her about swallowing a bottle of pills to unalive herself. Powell wound up being found 4.5 to 5 hours away in New York, with cops saying she had no intention of returning to care for her children based on evidence and where she was picked up. It's unclear whether Powell had been living in these horrifying conditions before her alleged breakdown, or whether her apartment fell into squalor after she left. Police were called to the home to conduct a welfare check when her alleged nastiness was discovered. They really use that, alleged nastiness. Hello, Freddie. Upon arrival, I knocked on the door and spoke with the 11-year-old female. Immediately when the child opened the door, I was hit with the smell of cat urine, rotting food, and feces. I asked if her parents were home and she said no. Um, said that she did not know where her mother was. She did not know where her mother had left, when her mother had left, or when she was coming back. According to Webster, the children were unable to call anybody because they didn't have a working cell phone. He observed them eating moldy food while at the residence, per the report. Powell claims 3 of the kids have autism. It's unclear whether their father is or if he's involved in the case. Scott, I appreciate you stopping in. Very much so. I had difficulty standing in the bedroom for longer than a few seconds because of the smell, the officer noted. The children, however, entered this bedroom without an issue. I believe the children had become noseblind to the awful stench of the bedroom. Powell has been charged with 4 counts of risk of injury to a child and is being held on a $250,000 bond. So that woman just decided, I don't want to do this anymore, and just left her kids all by themselves. And that's what I don't understand. I get it, being overwhelmed as a parent, even as a single parent. I promise you there are people out there that will help you or that will take your kids for you so you do not harm them. It's simple. Just ask for help. And even when you think that there is no one to help you, there is. Doesn't have to be family. You can go to hospitals, you can go places. They will gladly take kids and hopefully put them somewhere else instead of have them in this. But I know the system is broken. Other things happen, so I don't want to say it's the best situation. I don't know. I've never been in that situation, so I cannot speak for it. I've heard stories. They're not great stories, but it sounds like if she had told her mother or her aunt or whoever that she was suicidal, you would hope that they would have taken that seriously. So, anyhow, that's just my 2 cents on that. Okay. The next one is, let's see. Sibi, what's going on? I'm looking at my chat here. What is happening? Yeah. Content, I very well could be a mix of everything. 4 kids by yourself is a lot. That is a lot for one person to handle. But I know every state has resources. Again, I can't say that they are the perfect resources because I don't know. Phoenix, I was a single mom with 2 kids, and I had family help every once in a while, but I didn't grow up with parents. I didn't grow up with a great mom. I didn't have a father, so it was hard. I have really, really well behaved kids now, which I'm very grateful for, but um, I've got a soft spot in my heart for kids because I came from that broken home. And so my children would bring friends over that came from broken homes where they lived with their grandparents, or their parents were abusing drugs or alcohol or whatever the case is, and they always had a safe place. So the kids' stories are also, they hit home for me, very much so. But we will move on here. Why lay down without taking protection? Right, Kurt. I'm with you. I would build like the best facility to have kids. Kids just want to be loved and heard, right? They just want someone to hear them, and they just want someone to acknowledge their existence. And there are a lot of kids that act out in really crappy ways because any attention is better than no attention. And it's just like, maybe if those kids just had someone who acknowledged them as, they they were growing up, a hug goes a long way. Telling someone that you love them goes a long way. So it's, do you see the flashing light beside the person icon? What? What flashing light? What are we talking about? Oh, Phoenix, I'm sorry about that. That doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me at all. Are you talking about my flashing light? Is that what you're saying? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, I'm gonna move on while you guys talk about it. All right, the next one is vigilante. We're talking about a vigilante here. That teacher shouldn't be teaching. Exactly, hands down. You know, you hear a lot of abuse that happens with special education teachers, right? That is a tough job. That is a tough job. But if that is the job and the profession that you have chosen to do, you have been trained to do the things and how to respond to those types of children in their different disabilities and their different mental capacities. And when you hear these special education teachers on the news who have hit these children or abused them, or because maybe they're not verbal and they can't speak up to their parents or someone else, it's just crappy. It's crappy. It's just like someone who's in customer service who's terrible at customers with customers. Do not be in the position. All right. I'm not calling you to turn him in. Father tells 911 he killed roommate for drugging and abusing his daughter. Tammy Lynn, I appreciate you. A Nebraska man called the police to report he shot and killed his roommate, whom he accused of abusing his adult daughter and giving her drugs. Randolph, who's 40, pled no contest in district court to second-degree murder and the death of Ariel Varela, who's 45, and second-degree assault in the non-fatal shooting of a neighbor. The affidavit lays out the case that came to light on April 7th when a call came in to dispatch. The Spanish-speaking caller, later identified as Cantura, said he and a 20-year-old daughter living with him and a roommate, and the roommate was giving his daughter drugs and abusing her. I'm not calling you to turn him in. I'm calling you to tell you that I shot him in the head and I killed him. He told the dispatcher where the shooting happened, at a storage facility about 70 miles west of Omaha. He said he wanted to speak with an officer in person at a local truck stop, but he did not meet up with the officer that night. At the storage facility, police found blood on the ground and a .22 shell casing outside unit number 23. Inside, a sergeant saw blood and other spent .22 caliber shell casings. Authorities found the victim's body under black plastic tarps in the back of the unit. Video surveillance footage from a neighboring business showed multiple people in the Dodge Caravan coming to the storage unit at 9:33 a.m. After that, the individuals are seen going in and out of storage unit number 23 and back into the van. One man is seen outside the van looking around and then going into the storage unit, which continues throughout the day until about 8 p.m. when the van leaves. The van then returns at 10:20. Video shows multiple flashes of light in the van with multiple people inside. 20 minutes later, a man who appears to be bleeding is seen running from the storage unit. That man sought treatment at a hospital for a gunshot wound and identified Canchera as the person who shot him. During the police interview, the wounded man said he did not know where Varela was. He said he was worried about Varela because Canchera told him that he was tied up to stay in contact. The surviving victim also told police he believed that Canchera tried to kill him, shooting him twice, one bullet knocking out a tooth, later found on the floor in the storage unit, and another that grazed his face and went through his arm. Police tracked down Cantera through his cell phone in the early morning hours of April 8th in Missouri. A Missouri deputy located a Pontiac G6 parked in a general store parking lot where his phone was pinging. His daughter was with him. Deputies found a .22 caliber Phoenix Arms handgun in the vehicle, court documents said. Cantera is set to be sentenced on January 22nd. So this man, and hopefully he has hard evidence and proof that his daughter was being abused and drugged. And I would really hope that nothing personal, that no one was, hey Jake, how are you? That no one was, that she wasn't just reporting, that it was something just to create chaos. But if not, then I don't know about you, but in my opinion, Kurt, this just says Buchanan County. It doesn't give me the exact Colfax County District Court. It doesn't give me the exact city, but it's actually a Nebraska man. Hold on, let's see. Buchanan, Missouri, I think, because it says a Buchanan, Missouri deputy located the G6. Yes, Jake, everything is well. We're just reading crime stories right now. So yeah, hopefully this man, hopefully it works in his favor if that's really what happened. So, all right, the next one is disgruntled anesthesiologist with dead fish stare who poisoned patients' IV bags, leading to death and cardiac, okay, gets 190 years. A Texas anesthesiologist will spend the rest of his life in prison for injecting drugs into patients' IV bags, resulting in at least one death and causing multiple patient cardiac emergencies. See, I knew I could say the word. I knew I could. I don't know what's going on with me right now. Ronaldo was sentenced on Wednesday to 190 years in federal prison, the maximum punishment the U.S. Attorney's Office announced in a press release. So he was convicted in April of 4 counts of tampering with consumer products, resulting in serious bodily injury, 1 count of tampering with consumer product, and 5 counts of intentional drug overdose. Dr. Ortiz cloaked himself in the white coat of a healer, but instead of curing pain, he inflicted it. He assembled ticking time bombs, then sat in wait as those medical time bombs went off one by one, toxic cocktails flowing into the veins of patients who were often at their most vulnerable state on the operating table. We saw the patients testify. Their pain, their fear, and their trauma was in the courtroom. The trauma happened in 2022 at Baylor Scott and White Surgicare in North Dallas, where numerous patients suffered cardiac emergencies during routine medical procedures. About a month after the unexplained emergency started, an anesthesiologist at the facility died while treating herself for dehydration using an IV bag. Oh, thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. Suspicions were raised about tainted IV bags in August of that year after an 18-year-old sinus surgery patient began having high blood pressure, cardiac dysfunction, and pulmonary edema, symptoms, and had to be rushed to the intensive care unit in critical condition. A test of the fluid from the teen's IV bag found that the suspected cause was a drug cocktail, a nerve blocking agent, a stimulant, and lidocaine. Authorities also found a puncture in the bag and learned Ortiz injected the bags with drugs, put them into a warming bin, and waited for them to be used in his colleagues' surgeries. Prosecutors said surveillance video showed him repeatedly retrieving IV bags from the warming bin and replacing them just before they were carried into operating rooms where patients experienced complications. The video also showed him mixing vials of medication and watching as emergency responders wheeled victims out. Edema. Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate you. Doctors testified at trial about the confusion they felt when their patients' blood pressures skyrocketed after new IV bags were hung. Patients remembered waking up intubated, confused, in pain, and fearing for their lives in an intensive care unit. Prosecutors alleged Ortiz was disgruntled over disciplinary problems he had been facing, including possibly losing his medical license for an alleged medical mistake in one of his surgeries. Citing records from the Texas Medical Board, reported Ortiz had been arrested on allegations that he abused women and shot a pet dog. He also owes millions of dollars to the IRS. And that, my loves, is a man that will get 190 years in federal prison. Trouble. The lady in Moore. Oh, I remember that one. In fact, Trouble, I have seen that story more than once by more than one woman who traded her child for drugs. I hate people. People make me very upset. I'm writing it down in case you're wondering what I'm doing. I am here. Are you here, fools? Are you making songs in the shop? Because it's so loud, I could hear it through the walls. You've been here in the background. You couldn't hear anything. There's no way you could have heard anything, fools, with the music. It's okay. I'll read them to you later. All right. So, we've got another one for you. We are 47 minutes in. She gave her child for the drugs. For drugs. Yeah, content. I don't know if you have never heard that story, but I've actually seen several where a woman was like, here, hold my child while I go do drugs to some random strange dude. And she either doesn't get her child back or the child has been abused and she's okay with it. And when I mean a child, I'm saying under the age of 5, if not, can't walk yet. Oh, trouble. Trouble, that's awful. All right, so I've got another one for you all. Title, the headline reads, Deserves to have the same torture. Man who strangled wife and hid the body in trunk of rental car is sentenced. A New York man was sentenced to 25 years to life for strangling his wife to death in an argument and hiding her body in the trunk of a rental car found months later by employees on the rental car lot. Scott Tyrell, who's 58, learned his fate on Monday in the death of Lisa Tyrell, who's 57. He pled guilty in September to second-degree murder and concealment of a corpse. The victim's family members took Tyrell to task at his sentencing. The station reported the oldest daughter, Heather Young, also spoke out in court. Scott Tyrell deserves to have the same torture done to him that he did to my mother. Apparently, the man also broke down in tears. What I did was horrible, horrible, horrible. That's all I gotta say. Words are cheap, but I am so sorry to the family because I did a very evil thing. He killed her sometime in late March in their home in Peru. a town upstate, then placed her body in the trunk of his rental car. The body was discovered on May 28th when the car had been repossessed and returned to the lot of an Enterprise rental car company, authorities said in a press release. New York State Police responded to the Enterprise about 15 miles north of Peru. A trooper who happened to be there for an unrelated complaint was told by Enterprise employees of an overdue rental car that was reclaimed under suspicious circumstances. The vehicle was found by Enterprise at a residence in the town and towed back to Enterprise. The tow truck operator asked the trooper to be present when they searched the vehicle. When Enterprise employees checked the vehicle, Miss Tyrell's body was found in the trunk. Authorities quickly learned that her husband was the last known operator of the vehicle and arrested him during a traffic stop. She was in there for so long that the body decayed. You couldn't even tell who she was. And that's it. It just says a couple things about her obituary. If you go missing, I will find you, Rainey. Oh, will you? I don't know. The forest is very vast in my backyard. What if I want to go missing? Have you thought about that? Because I used to think about it all the time in my younger years. Well, here's the thing, Kurt. They're married. I'm assuming he probably, two things. Either one, he wanted money, is my guess, or two, he probably had another love interest. That seems to be the typical thing for people who unalive their spouses. It's money or it's an affair. Get a divorce, figure out your crap, and move on. If I go missing, you are looking at the suspect. I don't know, fools. I don't know how to answer that for you. You make a lot of people upset on the internet, fools. So maybe it isn't me. Just saying. Just make sure everyone knows that. Make sure. All right. Next up is, I think your kidnappers will bring you back immediately. Yeah, I got a big mouth. I don't think anyone's going to keep me that long. Okay, this title reads, Woman told boyfriend to finish off the man they stabbed 10 hours earlier so she didn't have to see him suffer while they robbed him. Already the alibi comes. I don't know what you're talking about. They're going to look at the size of you and they're going to look at the size of me and they're going to go, that's not even feasible. Ain't even going to happen. Not a thing. They're going to look at your internet history, fools, and they're going to look at my internet history and they're going to go back and see some of these chats. Remember that day you got mad at Steve? I'm just saying. All right, ATL. Woman who told boyfriend to finish off man they stabbed 10 hours earlier so she didn't see him suffering while they robbed him. A 20-year-old woman in Texas and her boyfriend of the same age have been accused of robbing and brutally killing a man who had allowed the couple to live with him in his condominium, drugging his drink, and then stabbing him multiple times. Haley Barber and Leo Moore were taken into custody on Thursday and each charged with one count of capital murder by terror, threat, or other felony, as well as one count of evading arrest or detention in the slaying of 53-year-old Johnny Mac Ross Jr. Moore was also charged with one count of property theft valued at over $2,500. According to a news release from the Garland Police Department, officers at about 1 a.m. on November 11th responded to a report regarding a deceased individual at a residence located at the 4500 block of Chala Road, which is about 17 miles east of Dallas. Upon arriving, first responders said they located an adult male, later identified as Ross, who appeared to have suffered multiple stab wounds and was pronounced dead on the scene. Officers on the scene also noted that they observed evidence indicating foul play within the residence. A preliminary investigation determined that Ross suffered multiple stab wounds with a knife. Investigators also discovered that one of the victim's vehicles, a 2001 Mercedes, had been stolen from the residence. At approximately 1 p.m. on November 11th, Garland officers located the stolen vehicle traveling on Miller Road near the freeway. When officers attempted to stop the vehicle, Haley and Leo fled and led them on a brief vehicle pursuit before stopping and fleeing on foot. Both suspects were apprehended a short while later. Police said they obtained evidence showing that Barber and Moore knew Ross and they were responsible for his death. A probable cause affidavit obtained by Dallas-Fort Worth Fox provided additional details about the circumstances of Ross's alleged murder. According to the report, Barber sold a car to one of her friends that she claimed belonged to her grandfather, but it was actually owned by Ross. That friend accompanied Barber to Ross's condo to get a spare key for the vehicle and said that the home had a foul smell. The friend then asked about Barber's grandfather, and she allegedly showed him Ross's body, which was wrapped up in a back bedroom. Barber then allegedly confessed to the friend that she and Moore had drugged Ross's drink and stabbed him. The friend then alerted his mother and called police. Inside the condo, police reportedly found a Bowie knife, bloodstains on the couches, and bloody towels and shoes that had been put away in the closet. Ross's body was found wrapped in garbage bags, sheets, and a rug. A neighbor's doorbell camera showed the two suspects enter and leave the condo multiple times during the time frame police believe Ross was killed, which is said to be several days before his body was discovered. Authorities were able to apprehend Barber and Moore as they were driving a Mercedes that belonged to Ross. During an interview with police, Barber admitted that she and Moore planned to steal Ross's money and cars. Moore allegedly admitted that he waited until Ross was asleep on the couch before stabbing him in the neck. What are we doing here? Oh, Carolyn, hey. Oh, Wyatt, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you very much so. Okay. The two reportedly left the apartment for about 8 to 10 hours before returning to find Ross still alive. Barber then reportedly directed Moore to finish off Ross so she didn't have to watch him suffer. Moore allegedly admitted she then stabbed Ross in the upper back multiple times. The suspects are being held in the Dallas County Jail on a $1 million bond. Who did I miss here? Oh, hey, Pan Fred. Good to see you. Good to see you. And 99. Hello. Hi. How is everybody? You're leaving Phoenix. Is Phoenix going? I know it's a little bit later. Phoenix, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a good evening. I try to do this a couple times a week. So I'm going to be regular with this. And then my little shorts. Cowboy, how are you? Hello. Hi. Panfried. Hello again. All right. 58 minutes in. I've got one short one and a semi sort of long one. Not really that long, but it's the bigger case, right? Okay, the title reads, He entered with a mission. Son bursts through hunting cabin door, kills father, execution style. Cowboy, I understand. Oh, Carolyn, I appreciate you.
Here's what I found.
Shh, be quiet. My Apple Watch is telling me things about what I just said, and now it's recorded. I'm like, now it's recorded. All right. A long-standing family dispute turned deadly when a Minnesota man allegedly broke into a hunting cabin and killed his father execution style as two other men looked on horrified. The Pine County Sheriff's Office responded around 8:45 p.m. Friday for a shooting at a cabin, which is about 80 miles north of Minneapolis. The 911 caller told dispatchers that two men came to his home and said the suspect, 31-year-old Kirk Hazlett, had shot his father, 62-year-old Kurt Hazlett, in the head at the cabin next door. Deputies traveled on a 1.5-mile dirt road to access the cabin where they found the victim face down on the floor near a couch. He was suffering from 9 gunshot wounds to his torso and head, a probable cause affidavit said. One of the surviving victims told deputies that the trio were finishing dinner when he received an alert on his phone about a motion-activated camera on the trail. He looked at the live view camera on his phone. Holy someone just walked through our gate with a pistol in their hand. He went to grab his handgun in a bedroom, but before he could get to it, the suspect burst through a side door, according to the affidavit. He heard 3 shots. After coming out into the main room, the man saw the suspect standing with the gun and the victim lying on the floor. The suspect ordered the other 2 men to sit on the couch. They pleaded with the younger Hazlett not to shoot them. The elder Hazlett was still alive and breathing a little bit, one of the surviving victims said. That's when the suspect walked over to his father and shot him in the head to make sure he was dead. After taking their phones, the suspect allowed the other 2 men to leave. The other surviving victim described the killing to detectives as execution style. He entered with a mission. He entered to kill him. Family members told deputies the suspect and victim weren't getting along and hadn't for a long time. The affidavit did not detail the disagreement or what drove the suspect to allegedly kill his own father. Witnesses did describe the suspect as very coherent during the attack. Deputies located the suspect at his home in Cambridge. In the driveway was a 2014 Black Ford Fusion, which deputies say is the car he used to drive to the cabin. Cops had responded to the cabin about a month prior to the murder for a disturbance between the father and son after a night of drinking. The father had his son trespass from the property. The younger Hazlett was taken to the Pine County Jail, where he is being held on a $3 million bond. He is facing second-degree murder, burglary, and kidnapping charges. Welcome, Subi. I appreciate you. So that is that about the son. That's awful. Thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate that. Okay, guys, the last one is going to be my bigger case, and then I will let you all go because I'm sure Fools is dying to get on his live, and I'm hurrying. I'm doing my best. Okay, so this shouldn't take terribly long, but Krills, I appreciate you. Thank you. Jeremy, good luck. I hope all goes well and it's going to work out as planned. So have a good evening. I appreciate you for stopping it. Keep going. I'm still on my last case anyway. All right. So this is a West Coast serial killer. His name is Randall Woodfield. If any of you know, he is known as the I-5 killer. And it is Randall Woodfield's Highway of Horror. All right, so Randall Brett Woodfield, known as the I-5 killer, terrorized the West Coast in the early 1980s. His crimes spanned the Interstate 5 through Washington, Oregon, and California. Woodfield's reign of terror resulted in at least 7 confirmed murders, though investigators suspect he may be responsible for many more. Born in 1950 in Otter Rock, Oregon, Woodfield grew up in a middle-class family and showed promise as a football player. He seemingly normal This seemingly normal upbringing contrasted sharply with his later transformation into a serial killer. Woodfield's criminal activities primarily targeted areas near highway exits and rest stops along I-5. The I-5 killer's crimes included murder, sexual assault, kidnapping, and robbery. His victims were often women, though he also targeted men and businesses. Woodfield's ability to move quickly along the interstate highway system made it challenging for law enforcement to track and apprehend him, allowing his crime spree to continue 4 months. Michael Myers, yes! Thank you, Carolyn. That's who it is. And then I have my little it guy. Try to do something fun. Randall Brett Woodfield's journey from promising athlete to notorious serial killer shocked many. His early life, sports career, and criminal history provide insight into the man who would become the I-5 killer. Born on December 26, 1950, Randall Woodfield grew up. Oh, we just wrote that. We just read that. What just happened? Okay, it's the same thing. They're just repeating it. I do love crime. But signs of trouble emerged during his teenage years. Woodfield attended Newport High School, where he excelled in sports. Despite his athletic prowess, he began exhibiting concerning behavior. Reports of indecent exposure incidents started to surface during this time. His actions hinted a deeper issues that would later manifest in more severe ways. Woodfield's talent on the football field earned him recognition. He played for Portland State University, where he studied physical education. His skills caught the attention of NFL scouts. In 1974, the Green Bay Packers selected Woodfield into the NFL draft. This opportunity seemed to promise a bright future in professional football. However, this time with the Packers was short-lived. The team cut him from the roster before the regular season began. Woodfield then played briefly for the semi-professional Chiefs. After his football career ended, Woodfield's criminal activities escalated. He committed a series of robberies along Interstate 5, earning him the nickname I-5 Bandit. In 1975, he was arrested for armed robbery. This led to a stint in the Oregon State Penitentiary. Upon release, Woodfield continued his criminal behavior. His crimes grew increasingly violent. Law enforcement suspected him of multiple sexual assaults, though concrete evidence was often lacking. These incidents foreshadowed the brutal murder spree that would follow. Randall Woodfield's reign of terror along Interstate I-5 left a trail of victims and devastated communities across the Pacific Northwest. His brutal crimes included murders. Okay, we know this. What is the thing? This is not a very good article, I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, so his crime spree, I cannot speak, in 1980 and continued into early 1981. On October 9th, 1980, Woodfield committed his first known murder, killing Sherry Ayers in Portland, Oregon. In November 1980, he attacked and robbed a woman in a drive-in restaurant in Vancouver, Washington. On December 9th, 1980, he also murdered Darcy Fix and Doug Altig in Portland. His most notorious crime occurred on January 18th when he killed Sherry Hull and seriously wounded Beth Wilmot in Salem, Oregon. So Sherry, who was 29, was found stabbed to death in her Portland apartment. She was Woodfield's former classmate. Darcy Fix, who was 22, and Doug, who was 24, were shot execution style in her home in Portland. Sherry Holt, 20, was working as a part-time janitor when Woodfield shot and killed her. Her co-worker Beth Wilmot survived the attack and later identified Woodfield. Donna Eckert, 37, and her 14-year-old daughter Julie Reitz were found murdered in their home near Gold Beach, Oregon. Dill Dog, I appreciate you. You know, you don't have to do that. I know I got monetized. I feel so important, but you don't have to do that. Thank you. Because here I am telling crime stories and I'm not drinking and I'm not singing songs. So this is what you get out of me, but much appreciated as always. Hey Rainey. Hey Brady. Hey Brady, how are you? Thank you, Vic. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Dill Dog, I do appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Because it's not about the money. Miss Rainey is just trying to get an all expense paid trip to Crime Con. I want somebody to phone my telephone or email me and say, Miss Rainey, we've been watching you on YouTube and we think you'd be a perfect example of Crime Con, and we want you to have your own little booth and meet all the cool people in the crime world. And that's what I want. That's what I'm shooting for. But I appreciate you. Thank you. Woodfield typically struck at businesses along I-5, including rest stops, gas stations, and ice cream parlors. He often wore a fake beard as a disguise. His assaults involved robbery, sexual assault, and murder. Woodfield would use a gun to threaten his victims before assaulting them. He frequently targeted lone women or small groups, using his charm and athletic build to gain their trust. Woodfield's crimes escalated in violence over time, starting with robberies and sexual assaults before progressing to murder. His familiarity with I-5 from his football career allowed him to quickly escape crime scenes and evade capture for months. The hunt for the I-5 killer involved extensive police work and forensic analysis. Law enforcement faced challenges in tracking down the elusive perpetrator who stuck along the interstate corridor. Detectives from multiple jurisdictions collaborated to piece together evidence from crime scenes spanning Oregon, Washington, and California. They analyzed patterns in the attacks, focusing on locations near I-5, exits, and rest stops. Sketch artists worked with survivors to create composites of the suspect. Police increased patrols along the interstate and set up surveillance at potential target areas. They also released public warnings urging women to be cautious when traveling alone. Investigators collected DNA samples and fingerprints from various crime scenes, hoping for a match in criminal databases. The task force also reviewed unsolved cases for potential links to the I-5 killer, similarities in victim profiles, methods of attack, and forensic evidence. In March of 1981, police arrested Randy Woodfield in Salem, Oregon. A traffic stop led to the discovery of a gun matching the one used in several I-5 killer attacks. Woodfield's appearance also closely resembled the suspect's sketches. Detectives found athletic tape in Woodfield's car, similar to the tape used to bind his victims. This key piece of evidence helped link him to multiple crime scenes. Investigators also uncovered connections between Woodfield's travels for Campus Crusade for Christ and the locations of several attacks. Even though DNA analysis was still new with their technology, it provided crucial evidence. Genetic material from the crime scenes matched Woodfield's profile. Survivors identified him in police lineups, which further strengthened the case. Woodfield's sociopathic tendencies became apparent during interrogations. He showed little remorse and often tried to manipulate investigators. Let's see. So the major trial began in June of 1981 in Oregon. He faced charges for the murder of Sherry and the attempted murder of Beth. The prosecution presented compelling evidence, including eyewitness testimony and ballistic matches. On June 26, 1981, the jury found Woodfield guilty on all counts. Woodfield became eligible for parole in 1991. The parole board denied his release, deeming him to be a continued threat to society. He filed multiple appeals over the years. In 2006, DNA evidence linked Woodfield to additional unsolved murders. This new evidence further diminished his chances for release. The Oregon State Penitentiary continues to house Woodfield, where he serves his life sentence without the possibility of parole. Woodfield's status as a sexual predator and a serial killer ensures he will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. His case serves as a stark reminder of the enduring consequences of violent crime. And then it just kind of talks about, there's a bunch of books and podcasts and all kinds of stuff. So never heard of CrimeCon. Yeah, so Larry, CrimeCon just this year was held in Vegas. So, they have a bunch of booths set up, and you can go visit like the people from Dateline, the people from 2020, all like the higher ups that do the crime stuff on TV. I'm fairly certain Mr. Ballin was probably there. Anyone who's high up and doing well for themselves, I'm guessing. Podcasts, things of that sort are invited. Now, as public, we can go to those things. You just have to buy their tickets in advance, and I think they're kind of pricey, but they sell out very quickly. So if you want to get the better pass, I want to say it might be 3 days, but you can get like a VIP pass and do like a meet and greet or things like that. So it's just a big thing to talk about crime, is all it is. And I want my own booth at the Crimecast event. That'd be cool. So I gotta step up my game. That's my goal. Eating walnuts, Justin for Lakin. Yeah, content. I was actually looking into that the other day. There's another one. All right, I'm gonna write that down. I got it. Ray. Fools, why are you telling me to continue on? I don't have any more stories for the people. Pretty good. How about you? I'm good, Brady. Thank you for asking. Emailed Danielle today, and she didn't reply. You know what, Brady? Brady, you are a good human, and I think that if she is willing to not even respond to you after 9 days, I know it's not easy, but I personally would not continue to give her my attention or the time of day. I know you're your own person. I'm sure you need some closure, and that's probably what's going on, but there are plenty of people out there that will speak to you. I'm sure of it. Fools, what is going on? What are you doing? I was like, what are you guilty of? It was on the news. That's just my opinion, Brady. Hello, Carrie. I just feel like you deserve better. Because Brady, you told me that she was busy doing other things with other people. And if that's what she wants to do, then I would just let her just go be a free bird, and you focus on you and find someone who is worth your time. Guilty. No, I'm like, what are you doing out there? Why do I have to continue? What if I don't have any more to talk about? Plus, we're pretty far into the live right now. I avoided it. Just my opinion, Brady. Hi, Carrie. One final thing. That's fair, Brady. I understand that. Closure is important. Smoking cigarettes and watching you. 9 days. I am being too sweet to Brady. Content, Brady and I have been talking back and forth outside of chat. So it's a little extensive, but sometimes we need some closure. Just sit there and stare. I'll watch. Look into Amber. Larry, I thought that said Amber Watermelon. I'm not even gonna lie. Amber. Steak Crunchwrap Supreme. He had that today. He sure did. Is that what you're having today? My jam is the steak chalupas, because that is my jam. Brady, I appreciate that. Thank you. Bastard fools. Hello, Cole. So let's see. We definitely will not do any spoiler alerts for Miss Carolyn, because she's got some things that she wants to listen to tomorrow. I want 3 of them stat. Yeah. Yeah, Tiff, I did write that one down. Want to sleep, but yet stay up. I don't know. What do you mean he could face the death penalty? This is crap. All right. I'm assuming you all know, all of you, because this made national news, about Brian Kohlberger. Raise your hand if you do not know who Brian Kohlberger is. I will wait patiently while I sip on this watered down deliciousness. That's okay, Tiff. I will, Google is pretty good at figuring it out. Hand. Nacho, you don't know who Brian Kohlberger is? I know Carolyn knows. See? I told you. I knew she knew. You do know. You do know. You just don't think you know the name. So, here in Idaho, we had 4 college students who were brutally murdered in their dorm house, their party house. It's not a dorm. It's not a party house. It's in their home, their college home, sorority home. And this November marked 2 years. And that's fair, Nacho. That is fair. This November 7th marked, November 7th is when he just went to court. But it's been 2 years since he has been on trial yet. So we haven't even got to hear all the evidence, because they have a lot of the case sealed up. Reddit has an amazing thread of conspiracies and bouncing back and forth. Did he do it? Did he not? So I think I've mentioned this before, that Idaho did pass the law. Yeah, it's been that long, 2 years. Idaho passed the law that if lethal injection does not work, that a firing squad may be used. He did it. I think so too, Carolyn. It's God, he's a weird man. Absolutely, Brady. It is my pleasure. And if I can help you just a little bit through my own experience, then I'm glad. I'm glad I could be there for you. So anyway, it looks like the newest thing, because I'm looking at an article. I'm not going to say anything about what Carolyn's going to listen to tomorrow, but the judge rules that Brian could face the death penalty. Okay, well, I sure hope so. So I just saw that headline and just wanted to throw that out there, because I would hope he gets the death penalty. I hope it's worse than that, but I think making people sit on death row when there is absolute for certainty that they've done the crime is a waste of our money and time and space. But That's just me. It's kind of like the expression, a little goes a long way. Brady, you're very welcome. Nacho Daddy, what? Wooden chair, wooden chair. Yeah. So anyway, I think they're not even going to start this case. I can't even remember if they've done jury selection yet, but I believe it's supposed to be next year. I just want to look real quick, see if I can find it, because it's been kind of on our news. I haven't followed it just because it hasn't started yet. They keep going back and forth, and it's driving me insane. Although I don't agree with some of the families of their victims and what they've done, but again, I've never been in a scenario like that, so I cannot say how I would react. Yeah, but Larry, you don't know which one of them is the one that takes care of it. So we're going back to the old times. And you know what's crazy is there was actually a man on death row here as of recently, a few months back. Oh, get out of here. So the judge denies the removal of the death penalty from the 4 college students. That's what happened. And that was updated as of yesterday. Because he's charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. 1 count of burglary? What did he steal in the deaths? Huh. Interesting. I really would like to, gosh, I wish I could know all of the things. I want to know all of the information that they have. Hello, Joey. Bring back the necktie parties, right? Thank you, Brady. Volunteers for squad duty. Let's try to get the stream near 100 likes. Well, Brady, we're gonna work on that. We've done it before. I wasn't doing this, that's for sure. I was singing. And that was fun. Crazy that I got 100 likes before in my life. But anyway, back to what I was saying. There was a man who had been on death row here, and he had a date set for lethal injection. I think they injected him twice and it didn't work. They couldn't find his veins. They didn't inject him twice. They tried multiple times, and they decided it would be inhumane to continue on if they couldn't find a vein. And the nursing staff that was handling it did not feel comfortable doing their damn job. So this man is still sitting in the Idaho prison on death row, and his attorneys tried to drop it because if they couldn't do the lethal injection, then therefore take him off death row. My chat must have froze. I don't know what's happening. And what I'm curious about is if we now have the firing squad as legal, why was that not done? And I'm asking you like you're going to know, but I'm just curious for myself, I guess. So, and anyway, I was trying to find the article. That's what I'm looking at right now. And I can't find it. Anyhow, all right. We've been going at this for an hour and a half. We haven't. Have we? Yes, we have. An hour and a half. the Delphi murders. I was actually going to cover that, Carolyn, but that's going to be a lot of research for me, and I'm not ready for that yet. Bolts of lightning don't miss. Yeah, that's true. That is true. So, my lovelies, it is, we're about an hour and a half into this. I always go over my 1 hour, but I appreciate all my friends here stopping by and saying hello and becoming a member and just coming just to say hi and listen to me trip over my words and talk about things that a lot of people could be uncomfortable with. So you ruined one for her. I saw that, Tiff. Thomas Creech. I'm going to write it down. I'm writing them all down. Absolutely, Brady. Good to see you. Creech. Thomas Creech. Yeah, that's the one. Thomas Creech. That's the one I'm talking about. He's the dude that was supposed to be, and it didn't happen. That's him. I was like, why do I know this name? Yeah, he is the one that was supposed to die, and the lethal injection didn't work. So I'm going to write it down. Thank you for that fantastic reminder. But he's the reason that I was just having that conversation. How many piercings do I have? Like body piercings? That one. Unless you count my ear piercings. Then I have those ones. That's it. I had my tongue pierced when I was 16 when it was the thing to do back in the day. But I don't have it anymore. I got rid of that years ago. Years ago. Probably when I was like 21. Maybe even earlier than that. Fools, you gonna go live? What a question. Right? I always get comments on this like, oh, why is your nose pierced? I don't know. Why, or do you blink? Because I wanted to pierce it. It's pretty common these days, depending on where you're at in the world. But anyhow, I love you all. Imagine getting your belly button pierced in your 50s. Two things. One, no. Two, I've had 2 children. So again, no. 3, you have to be willing to show that off. So the answer again is 5 and 6, no. But you know, if you're a 50-year-old and you have the body to show it off, by all means do it. That's all I'm gonna say. I am not gonna hold any judgment to anyone who does what they want to do. Miss Rainey is not her. I'm just gonna say that. Do I go live? Do I exist? Smart ass fools. Fools is gonna go live. He will. All right, guys. I love you all. You all are amazing. To anyone in here who decided to be a part of the members, you are appreciated. It's not required. It's not important. You all know I am not here for that. But all of you are great. And thank you. And I will see you all on the next one. Okay, bye.